Waziri mkuu anakuja kwa sherehe kubwa kama na hii ya serikali, PC hakuna. Unaambia PC ameenda Nairobi. Kama Kibaki alikuwa anakuja hapa, PC angeweza kuja kwa hapa? Angekosa.
Kwa vile yeye amechukua msimamo wa kumtusi rais, amechukua msimamo wa kumdharau rais, amechukua msimamo wa kukashifu bila sababu, basi na yeye ajitayarishe.
Na angewekewa sana namna hii bila hata choo. Angewekewa. Alafu na nusu kapeti namna hii. Nusu mkeka.
Ilikuwa ni lugha tuijua, ilikuwa ni makuru pia tunayo. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Waziri Mkuu, tutakujengea choo popote unapoenda. Pia ukitaka kukenda ndani ya gari yako.
That was one of those explosive moments this year, moments that defined the Kibaki-Raila relationship. It was during an official function at the coast that Raila couldn't hold it anymore and let it rip that he was being given the short end of the stick in the Grand Coalition government despite being an equal partner with President Kibaki.
Raila had a point there because essentially he is not even Prime Minister, at least symbolically. He's only Prime Minister constitutionally, but symbolically he is a co-president, which means President 1A, he is President 1B.
The spat came immediately after the failed Kilaguni talks in early April.
What happened in Kilaguni was that they raised the stakes very high, and Raila discovered long before Kilaguni that he had been shortchanged, especially with the 50-50 power deal, and decided to use post-Kilaguni as a way of saying, look, I need more space.
Who had been undermining the Prime Minister? The ODM fraternity had been pointing accusing fingers at the president's men, including the head of civil service, Francis Mudhaura.
The case of Mudhaura was never quite an issue because, in my view, Mudhaura doesn't have a mind of his own. He speaks what the president asks him to speak. And that was a position then they wanted to shift.
Stop asking Raila to concede more ground. He has conceded enough. Direct your questions to Honorable Kibaki and his people to be sincere to Kenyans.
Hata ukipatiwa mkate mzima utashibisha Wakenya wote. Si uchukue hiyo mkate nusu uoneshe Wakenya ni nini utafanya na hiyo nusu, ndio hata mwaka ingine ikija wawe wanaweza kukubali ya kwamba unaweza kupata mkate mzima.
Observers note that Kilaguni was the real defining moment in the often edgy relationship between the president and the prime minister. The meeting had been called to iron out issues of protocol and public appointments amid complaints that real power sharing had not been attained.
Na hiyo accord imesema real power sharing, it is not just sharing positions, it's sharing power.
They were using it as a way of doing the bargaining and doing the leveraging. And they managed to do it very well because it's immediately after that that the demands that Raila was making before were later met. It was Kibaki who realized, hey, games are being played here. And unless I cave in, we're going to have a situation we cannot handle.
Even before the demands were met, the two principals had been embroiled in yet another tussle, that of the control of the leader of government business in Parliament, until Speaker Kenneth Marende ruled that he would take over that position until the principals find a solution.
What that did in terms of Marende coming in is to create a third force. And that only complicates the situation. And that's why I'm saying when opposites begin to unite, and in this particular case we are seeing the coming together of the two opposites, a new order of things begin to emerge.
By July, however, the dust had settled. Both the president and the prime minister embarked on image building. They jointly launched national projects, including the Kazi Kwa Vijana project. They appeared to read from the same script.
Definitely for myself, and I definitely for Raila Odinga, and we who are these two groups, I am sure we shall succeed. And I'm sure nobody is going to set us apart.
Hii ndio tumesema tunataka kufanya pamoja, tukiwa pamoja, Rais Kibaki Waziri Mkuu Raila Odinga.
At one moment, they toured the Nyanza region together, addressed large crowds, and eventually had lunch at the Prime Minister's Bondo home.
You know, when a man invites you to his house to do lunch with his family, he's basically saying, now we have become friends. And the significance of it was to say, let us begin a romantic relationship here. So this is another way of also the Odingas telling the simpletons around them that we have been admitted into the courts.
Karibu. Analysts say, by and large, the president seems to have ceded some ground to the Prime Minister.
Effectively, he has become almost an executive Prime Minister, whereas Kibaki has remained ceremonial, although he has the constitutional powers of being the head of government.
While the Prime Minister continues to fight for his political life after the Grand Coalition government, the President, on the other hand, may only be worrying about his legacy. 2010 will be a crucial year to them within that context, as they will be entering the most important stage of implementing reforms in the country. Alex Chamwada, Citizen TV, Nairobi.